Seth, great to see you. Unfortunately, under the circumstances that I couldn't have imagined when you and I talked about getting back together and giving us an update. So, look, I know you're out there in Arizona. Your wife is a state rep out there. I don't know. Is maybe I'm just looking for something, but is the reaction to what's going on with this assassination attempt any different in Arizona because of the proximity of Turning Point USA and Charlie's family?
I think it's hit every corner of the country equally hard. There is a unique aspect about Arizona politics. If you're involved in Arizona politics, either as an observer on the outside, as a consultant, or as a candidate or office holder, they've been deeply involved in Arizona politics since they moved there. And this is really shaken a lot of people. Rachel's very shaken up, but I think we all are. He's gone way beyond the borders of Arizona in his impact, and not only Charlie's own impact in the organization, but he created a ton of young people with a fire in the belly to fight for this country. So the impact is widespread.
You know, your wheelhouse and expertise is really into voter registration and trends, and it was something that's what a large part of Turning Point USA's action was about: is getting people out to vote for the first time, to register to vote, to motivate them. Just talk to me about that. You look at data, but what is it? What impact did they have on that data? What impact did they have on whether it's Arizona or so many other places where they were playing a fundamental and critical role?
One thing people have noticed about the way I analyze data is I go way back in the past. These, especially the presidential trends, they have a unique trajectory to them in which the races can be much easier to predict. Just like you and I on this show back in November realized that Nevada and Arizona were misplaced in mainstream media polling based on data going all the way back to 1912. And a lot of conservative or Republican voters that are now in their 60s recall when they became conservative Republicans, and that was at the dawn of the Reagan era in 1980 when he beat Jimmy Carter because the country was going through so much stuff. So likewise, the one major issue since the Reagan coalition began to disband in the 90s has been the major atrophy of support from younger voters. And Turning Point knew that, saw that, engaged the younger crowd. And right now, yesterday, my phone was full of messages from people not necessarily younger than me, but people that are more of the normie branch of Republicans that are really shaken up by this. So Kirk had a widespread impact beyond the base. You know, a lot of people that run podcasts or have really hot social media channels impact the base, but Kirk's reach was widespread and did so without compromising important values. So he's a major figure in turning younger voters away from the brainwashing they've been receiving at these universities and onto a way of doing something different. I don't think that's going to stop.
That was what I was going to ask you next. I mean, I talked to Charlie a lot during the campaign. There were stories that were being written about voter reg and turnout efforts and Turning Point USA, what they were doing. When you look at what you do and give us a prediction of based on where these trends are going, for everyone who's looking, we spend a lot of time, and we should. Don't get me wrong. I want to tap into your expertise, but like we've spent the last 48 hours talking about Charlie the person, rightly so. Just to be clear, but you and I are political guys, and you're a data guy. What do we need to make sure we understand? If you want to honor Charlie, that's my view. Then you need to understand the impact that he's having, so that we don't let it go. That the work that Charlie and Turning Point USA are doing continue. That's the best way, in my opinion, to honor Charlie's legacy, is that we keep our foot on the gas and say, all right, so if you're based on the data that you have seen and where we're going, what do we need to do to make sure that effort continues? So is it just we need to keep funding? We need to go to college campuses, all of the above? What is it?
In the overall mission to make the country freer and turn us back towards the founding principles that we've left, the only option to honor Charlie Kirk is to keep fighting. Otherwise, his death is going to be in vain. So as long as the people don't turn away, we had a choice just in putting this segment out to, let's say maybe hold off and honor Charlie. But I think that, and I only met Charlie Kirk one time, but I know a lot of people in his orbit. I don't think that his line of thinking would be stop the fight. And likewise, in this country, today's the 24th anniversary of 9/11. I was 16 years old when those planes hit the towers, and now I'm 40. And I had a great story with my dad. I'd been selected to attend a youth leadership conference in Washington, D.C. two months later, and I was afraid of getting on a plane. And my dad was a 3-time Vietnam veteran infantry officer, and he said, "Son, I didn't serve 3 bleeping tours in Vietnam for my son to be afraid of a bunch of Stone Age camel herding savages." So I got on that plane, and likewise, America restarted the things it loved. So we didn't let them win when they shut everything down. And likewise, if we shut everything down over the acts of evil people, then we've already yielded the field. So I think that the impact that Charlie Kirk had is way deeper than month-to-month voter registration trends. Of course, this is going to manifest in the political climate, but people are awake. The moderate person that wishes to go along to get along with people who have murder on the mind are no longer head buried in the sand. And honestly, I think that Rachel and I will be able to see that firsthand, because our district in Arizona is R+10, and it's very moderate with a lot of senior citizen voters. I think we'll be able to gauge that very soon.
Before I want to get into the numbers with you, but I can't help but notice a parallel, a similarity between last year and this year. Just, was it July, August of last year, there was a serious assassination attempt on President Trump where he was hit, and then another one that followed it. Obviously, this assassination attempt on Charlie went through, and he was murdered. But we're less than 60 days out from at least 4 major elections: New Jersey, Virginia, New York City, and the Prop 50 race in California. Obviously, some other cats and dogs here. But did that attempt on President Trump's life last year make a difference? Yes or no? And will this murder of Charlie make a difference in terms of the motivation of the folks on the right that I can tell already? I know you're getting your inbox flooded. I've gotten a lot of people are pissed. And are they going to, based on what we saw last year, are they going to go out and vote?
It's going to have an impact, just like Trump's shooting did. Remember, right after Trump was shot, Elon Musk dropped everything, endorsed President Trump, and threw a ton of money into his campaign. Now, those two have had their issues, but that was noted by a lot of people. That was the beginning of a different coalition coming into the party, which is a lot of the tech investors coming over to the Republican Party, which has good and bad impacts. You have to look at both. But likewise, Kirk's shooting is going to create thousands more Charlie Kirks. And it's hard for me to say that, because it's hard to rack and stack numbers on a chart based on a tragedy that just happened. But I do think that he's somebody with a unique capability to reach a difficult segment of the American electorate. And they are not taking this easy. And you can really see on the commentary online, Charlie actually put out a tweet one time, said you can really tell who people are with how they respond to death when someone dies. And you can see the ugliness of the American left. And what's going on the left today is, it may be new to us. The 60s was full of political violence, but all throughout the world, including the Western world, this ugliness has raised its head. Of course, you can look at Spain, you could look at a number of European countries. This is not something that's limited to uncivilized nations or developing nations. So it's a real threat, and that is going to weigh on the minds of these voters who fancy themselves as these moderates who wish to try to get along with everyone. It's not possible. You're never going to be able to get along with everybody.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.